Hey, it's Leslie Davis with the Christian Internet Classroom, and today I'm here to show you one of my favorite tools. It's something I discovered earlier this year, and it has absolutely revolutionized the way I use information and how I feel about myself and my ability to stay on top of my field. Of course, showing you how to use the RSS is just part of making the internet work for you. First, I want to ask you a question. Do you ever feel like you're just drowning in information, that you can't possibly read it all? I have felt overwhelmed so many times, thinking there's so much information out there, but I can't possibly stay out in front of my market in the way I want. And then I'll see someone that seems to know everything about everything. Just unbelievable knowledge. And I wonder, how in the world do they find time to do that? It's hard enough to have a personal life away from the computer as it is. And then a couple of months ago, I learned this secret, the RSS reader. I love it. You're going to love it too. It's free, it's easy, and it saves me a ton of time. So let's get started on this quick teaching. RSS stands for Really Simple Syndication. Really, it's just that simple. You probably recognize the RSS symbol, but you may not have known what it meant. The symbol usually appears in the color orange, but it can appear in any color or it can be embedded in any shape. But it's how you find the opportunity to use RSS on websites. Let me show you how RSS works. Today, when you're accessing information online, you're basically accessing information in the form of news, in which case you're searching for it. For example, I search for web technology, information, communications, social media. You also access information for blogs. And blogs are normally things that I follow because they're thought leaders or people with creative thinking that expand my mind when I read what they have to write. Well, the real key to using these two tools is the ability to consistently gather the information that you need and then process it through your mind, right? But I never consistently go out and do the same searches or consistently go out and read daily blogs just because I don't have time to. Well, that's where the secret of RSS comes into mind. So watch the arrows. What happens here is we set up those searches and your subscriptions to websites that you like so that the RSS redirects the information all in one place to you in the form of a reader. You don't have to go look for it anymore. It's all sitting there when you're ready to do it. And even better, you can schedule it so you're not spending time through the day looking at blog subscriptions that are coming into your email or stopping to look for news on the internet. I like it, and I like to begin with the end in mind, and so I want to show you what my Google Reader looks like. I use Google's Reader. There are many different readers out there. I like this one. It works great. I've never had a problem with it, and it's free and easy. Right now in my reader, you can see that there are 177 items waiting to be read. Now, 177 articles sounds pretty overwhelming to me, but it isn't. I only check the reader once a day, and by that time, there are usually between 350 and 400 articles in it. It's extremely rare that I spend more than 20 minutes a day reviewing it, and here's how I do that. I've set up each article to show the title, the source, and the author, as well as the first several lines. By the time I glance at that information, I know whether it's an article that I'm interested in reading. If I am, I just click on the title and it opens on my screen. When I'm finished, I click back on the reader and it takes me to my place in the list. I don't read everything because I'm not interested in everything that anyone publishes. I just look for the articles that have value for me, kind of like on the web today. You see articles and review them, but you don't necessarily want to read them and you skip over them. The reader also marks the articles that have appeared on my screen as read, and once I finish with this group, they disappear into my history. So my place in the reader is always marked in current. That's pretty cool, huh? Information is placed in the reader from three sources. It can be placed from subscriptions from the reader, subscriptions from a website, and through searches. Now, you're not going to believe how quick and easy this is to set up. Now, don't worry about writing all of this down. We've got notes below that you can download, and I would suggest you just watch it through one time. If you run into any problem setting it up, then come back to this video, minimize the window on the screen, and open a new window to set up your Google Reader. You can start and stop this video through each step and perform the step on your computer at the same time. It's simple. So let's get started. Open a new window with the internet active and do a search for Google Reader. If you had previously registered with Google, you can use your username and password. If not, you'll have to sign up for one. When you're done, just sign in and you'll see this screen. This is the Google Accounts page. Follow the green box and click on the Reader. Remember, there are 3 ways to add information to the Google Reader, and we're about to start. So how to add a subscription from the Reader. This is what your reader looks like when it first comes on the screen. This one is empty. It's a brand new reader. So I'm going to click on the Add a Subscription button, which you see. Now, one company that I follow is Zurb. I am a huge fan of this company. If you have any interest in all in innovative ways to make teams work, to make them communicate, then you need to be reading their posts too. I get so much inspiration from reading their information. So what I'm going to do is add a subscription to Zurb. I'm going to type in Zurb and hit enter. Now what you see is this information on Zurb appear on your screen. This looks like they've got over 2,700 subscribers, which is pretty darn healthy, and they average 20.5 posts per week, which is much more productive than I'll ever be. That should tell us something about their productivity. I know it's the right group, so I'm going to hit the subscribe button. Notice that when I do, I suddenly have Zurb show up in my subscriptions list, and it puts in my reader 10 of the most recent articles that Zurb has posted. Isn't that cool? That's all there is to doing it, and I would highly suggest this is the method you use to just begin setting up your reader. You can just click here and go through people that are known to you or sites that are known to you and add subscriptions. Next, we're going to cover how to add a subscription from a website. So let's say you're either surfing or someone sent you a great article and you read it and think, I think I'd like to read their stuff more often. So what we'll do is we're going to open one of my favorite websites, one that I read from every day, thepioneerwoman.com. I personally love this stuff. So what I do on the website is I look for the RSS icon. And RSS icons can be anywhere on the website, so sometimes you have to really search to find them. I click on the RSS icon and I get this page. Now the box you see that says subscribe now is pretty standard to RSS subscription services. You'll see it over and over again. So I just click on the Google box. When I do, I get this screen asking if I want it on the Google homepage or on my reader. So I'm going to click on my reader and voila, I am subscribed. Now you see that the subscription's been added. It's where it says Confessions of a Pioneer Woman. And the first 10 posts, or the most recent 10 posts, have been added to my subscription. That's how easy it is to do it from a website. You just have to have a little bit of discipline as you're reading information that you think you might want to keep up with. The third way to get information into the reader is by searching. So I'm going to show you how to add a search. Let's go back to the reader and begin by clicking on Browse for Stuff. See it there? It's very formal and technical words. Browse for Stuff. Click there and you'll see the Discover and Search for Feeds page come up. Click on the Search button and then go to the bottom of the page and you'll see a link to Google Alerts. We're going to use Google Alerts to set up feeds for our searches. So I'll click there, and when I do, I see the Google Alerts page come up. I see a place where I can key in search terms, and then I see 4 settings. Right now I want to share with you the settings that I always use for any search. I use everything as the type, as it happens, for how often. My volume is all results, and this is the most important. I have it delivered to my feed, and remember my feed is my reader. Just think syndication. It's feeding the information into my reader. Then I'm going to enter a search term. Now, if I were an intellectual properties attorney, I might want to search for copyright articles. And I wouldn't necessarily know where I would need to set up a subscription for those because I just want to see anything that's hitting the web. So I'm going to key in copyright, hit enter, and I'll get a confirmation page. Here on the confirmation page, I'm going to click on View in Google Reader, and here we go. I now have the confirmation telling me that anything else that comes out with using the word copyright will be queried and placed into my reader. Now that is a great way to do some research or to just follow what's going on and begin to build your subscription base by watching who writes good information on the fields that you want to follow. Altogether, you just learned how to set up the Google Reader, how to add subscriptions from the reader or from the web, and how to add searches. So it's time for you to take action and do those 4 things. I promise you can do them in probably less than 7 minutes if you're slow, and you will be ready to go with your reader. When you finish setting all this up, please be sure and take a minute and share your experience on the Buzz Community Facebook page. It's where you can tell other people with some accountability that you've gotten it set up and you either like it or dislike it. Give each other feedback on the Facebook page. Now I want to take you to what your next steps are, and these are very important 3 next steps. Number 1, begin by thinking about your personal workflow. Think about when you are going to spend your time reading what is in the reader, or you'll just never get it done. So think about that. Some of my clients report that they like to use it first thing in the morning. It gets them in the mood for the task of the day, and it helps them feel like they've got the latest news and kind of gets them pumped and ready to go. Now I'm the opposite. I do it as the last thing I do before I go to bed at night. For some reason, that's when I feel more relaxed and able to absorb the information. In the morning, I'm very distracted thinking about what I've got to get done in the day. Now, when I do it at night, I find that when I wake up the next morning, I'm all pumped and enthused about my work, and my mind has been absorbing the information I think during the night. The timing is up to you and your schedule. Just make sure to create a new habit of reading daily whenever you decide to do it. Next, use the information constructively. When I run across an article that I might want to use later, I copy and paste the link into an Evernote file on my computer. And if you don't know about Evernote, go over to the Buzz community and download the last newsletter to learn how to use it. Evernote's wonderful because I can hold all that information together, and when I need it, it's all sitting right there. It just takes a little bit of discipline to make myself go over there and do it. And it keeps me from trying to remember where I read great information later when I need it. I also share the information with my Twitter and Facebook friends. If I see an article that I think is something they might be interested in, I always pass it along. For those of you that work in an organization, it's a great way to show your boss that you're on top of things or to share information with the team. Last, and I always do this with the tool that I'm spending valuable time using, I always go back and reflect on its value and then adjust it accordingly. If I've put a lot of information into my reader that I'm not going to use, I may need to go in and delete some of that. I also may need to reflect on the value of it and make sure that I'm getting everything out of using the reader that I should be getting. Remember, it's all about creating your buzz. If you have any questions, just post them on the Facebook page at the Buzz Community, or you can drop me an email if you're having problems getting it set up, and I'll be glad to help you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week with the latest buzz.